Well, hey, Diet Disruptors, Carrie here, and welcome to another episode of the Diet Disruptors podcast. I love my guest today. Now, a lot of you know, if you've been watching, we always have a coach. Very often we have one of our coaches that we highlight because all of our coaches have been where so many of you are, where you were struggling, and then you have found answers through our approach, and they become a coach. Now, it's not an easy process to get there. That's why every single one of our coaches is so incredible and so special. And today is no different, but it's also even more special because I have known Stacie, Coach Stacie, for many years before she became a coach. So Stacie is one of my really good friends, and I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome, Stacie. You've been on the podcast before, but this is the first time really talking about yourself. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. It's more of a difficult subject, isn't it? When you have to talk about yourself than like other things. So
I
for sure.
know. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about you. Who is Coach Stacie?
Well, let's start how we met first. Like Carrie and I met in Singapore like 16 years ago, I think it is, because
I can't
yeah, I think it's
believe
about
it's been
16 years ago.
that long, but
I know. Because
yeah.
our kids are that age now, right? And we clicked right away. Carrie's parents were teachers at the school I worked at, and she's like, "You got to meet my daughter. She has two kids the same age as your daughter, and you're gonna hit it off." And we did. Like I felt like every time I went over to Carrie's house, it was like just family. I could just go to the fridge and sit on the couch and just like we would go over for the afternoon.
Yeah,
And
it's
it was
mostly
just
because
like
we don't want
family.
to do more work. So when we have friends over, like, I'll help yourself. I'm not getting up.
That's so yeah.
And people might be
No, so
listening,
it's been
wait,
great.
why Singapore? So tell people what brought you. I was brought to Singapore because of my husband's job, and then I ended up starting a business, and it was a whole long 7 years. But what brought you to Singapore?
So my husband and I are international teachers, and we started off in Thailand. Then we moved to Japan, where we had our daughter, and then we moved to Singapore. So we've been traveling overseas for many, many years, but we've been back in the U.S. the last 10 years. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. So
And
that
that's
was it. But
when,
then,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. No. And when I was overseas, I definitely noticed after I had my daughter, it's hard. It took me over a year to kind of get back. And women always, have a period of time after you have a baby. It takes a while to get back to how you feel fit again.
Yep.
And, my body went through those changes for a while. But I mean, honestly, my husband and I, Carrie, we have been health and nutrition people like many, many, many years, right? My husband researches, products and researches ingredients. And I mean, I've been one of those label people for a very long time. Before I even met Carrie, I would flip labels over and just check and see what's inside. And throughout the years, honestly, I have seen labels change for sure. I mean, it's not the same stuff. We know the ingredients has changed a lot of different things.
Yep.
So it was when we moved back to the States when I really was just like trying to figure out, like, it was in my 40s at the time. And I was just like, what's going on? I, spoke with Carrie, and she was just starting off getting into this program, right? You were starting off and figuring out what you wanted to do and how you wanted to do it.
Well, and
And
what's crazy
you were living in Ohio.
Because Nathan, Stacie's husband, has always been like super fit and super into like clean eating and all that kind of stuff. And so when we met so many years ago, I was like, I cannot keep hearing about the clean eating, right? Like I was like not a part of my, you guys have seen it come full circle, literally, because it wasn't part of my narrative at all. And yet now I love that here we are working together in this realm. And Nathan is like our silent assassin in the background, always just checking on things and making sure what we're talking about is legit, that our products that we recommend are good. We love
that. Yeah, he's always asking questions, isn't he?
Silent assassin.
It's hard to go to.
So let's talk.
It's hard to go to a restaurant with him.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, I remember your father had a Chuck E. Cheese party. And they had the drinks at Chuck E. Cheese, and he looked at the back and he's like, it's just all high fructose corn syrup. And I'm like, I know, dude, just close your eyes for 1 second, and we're just going to get through this party. So, all right. So, I remember when, gosh, was that when I was living in Mexico and you came to visit, and that's when you really started like, or maybe it was even a little bit before that, but anyway, you
It was
contacted me and you were
before
like,
that.
yeah, it was before that. Where you were just
Mhm.
like, something's not right. And you guys are some of the healthiest people I know. And so for all of you people out there, if you know you live a healthy lifestyle and generally you're like, I eat clean, I'm healthy, and something's not right, put in the comments healthy, because that is literally Stacie and Nathan. I mean, as healthy as you can be. Nathan goes to like a stream for his water. I remember that. He was bringing buckets.
He used to, yeah.
Not anymore. So anyway, so Stacie, when you came to me and were like, okay, something's not right. Tell us what was going on.
Mhm. So, I just was at a place in my life where I saw my body was changing. Like I said, I was in my early 40s, and I mean, I never had a plan, right? I didn't never had direction as to what to do. I just ate healthy, But Carrie had started with this, you had started with this program that you were just like, you know what, try this. I think at the time it was a 10-day, right? It was like
Yeah.
a short
It was
thing
because
that you were like, try this.
it was my original coach back more than a decade ago.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. And you're like, try this. And there were times, I mean, you're going to struggle at times where you're like, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. And then there were times when I was like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? I would text Carrie and be like, I don't know if this pizza crust, I don't know if this, and I don't know. It was a struggle at first, but then when I got it and I realized it, and you were just like, Stacie, you're thinking too hard. Calm down. You told me to stop, calm down, and just go with it. Like it's little mistakes, little tweaks here and there, you'll learn it. And after those 10 days, I was like, this is amazing.
I
Like,
remember
and I
that.
just kept going. I kept going. I kept going. I kept going.
And that's a
Yeah. I
perfect
just needed some
example.
kind of like a plan.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a perfect example of a couple things. One where it's like you understood I need proteins and fats and carbs, right? And you just knew what like carbs and proteins and fats that served your body were. But we really kind of helped you see, because I was actually in a lot of ways, I had been like, you were exactly the person in my story where I was like, once I learned this, I had to just tell it to everybody. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I was like hundreds of basically friends or friends of friends that I was coaching. And you were one of those kind of first people. And we just sort of did 10 days of just like, okay, like, what can we do here? But it's also interesting because it was just small tweaks in a lot of ways. But you also on the Enneagram, if anybody knows the Enneagram and knows how to spell it, right? In the word Enneagram, you're a 2-wing 1. Am I right?
Mhm.
Okay. So a 2 is a helper, which is why it goes right along with Stacie being a teacher and a coach and all of that. But a wing 1 lends on that side of being a little bit more of a perfectionist in some ways. And so for you, like you really wanted to get it right, and like, what is this? What is this? And what is that? And it's so funny that sometimes our personality can just make things in some ways either more challenging or easier, and knowing that about yourself allows you to kind of, I don't know, either give yourself grace or recognize why
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing what you're
definitely.
doing.
For
And when
sure.
you
My body, like it came to a point where my body like knew, like every so many hours, it just kind of just knew, okay, I'm starting to feel a little hungry. I need a little bit more energy in me. It was those macronutrients that it needed to get me, going throughout the day. And it really helped me to understand like, okay, this is what my body needs now. It's not just like, like so many people who walk into an office and like see something on the counter and like, oh, I'm just going to grab a handful of this or a handful
Yep.
of that. It really made me realize that like how easy it is to walk in your kitchen, grab a handful of this, handful of that, whatever. Instead, you have to just like stop and think, why am I doing that right now? Is it because I'm hungry, or is it just because it's there?
Yes,
There
exactly.
was so much that went
And
through it. It
even,
wasn't just,
yeah, even if it's just
yeah, yeah,
healthy, it's
yeah,
still
it
the
was
same,
mindset.
right? Like I can have like a whole bunch of healthy nuts, right? And healthy and balanced are very different. And I think that was the big tipping point for you.
Right. Exactly. That was it. Exactly. Yeah. And then, like you said, and then we met in Mexico. I came to Mexico, and Carrie and I had a great vacation together with our families, our daughters, our husbands. And that's when you were talking about like, products and what you're doing, and with Mark McDonald and all this stuff. And that's when, you know, you really started telling me more and more, like it was becoming a bigger thing at that point. So that's when you thrown in Mexico in there too. Yeah. It's been going on for a while. We've talked about this.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. So, and that's when you were really like, no, you were certified to be a health coach before you became a health coach, because you were so interested in this and being able to support people. And yet once you really tweak things, and you had a formula to be able to support other women in a way that
Mhm.
just sort of, I think made a lot of sense to you, which then allowed
Right.
it to make sense to others. Now,
Yeah. That's where my number two comes in, because I'm a helper and I always want to help others. That's, you know,
exactly.
that's me. I just love that. So
Exactly. And it's what makes you so incredible, because you have attention to detail and you want to help and you stay consistent. I mean, it's not like what you were able to do is like work this into your lifestyle, and obviously just making some small tweaks matters a lot. Now, you are
mhm.
going through or through menopause. I am through menopause or going through menopause, all of this stuff, because that's what happens when you get into your late 40s and early 50s and all of that kind of stuff. And you've noticed that your body changes. Thank goodness you're eating in the way that you're eating. But talk to us a
Right.
little bit
Yeah.
about your recent menopausal, like, oh my gosh, moment when it came to your body.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So I had talked before about my early 40s, you know, and I felt great all throughout that. And then it was about 2 weeks before I turned 50, and I was like, what is going on with my body? What just happened? Like, I was literally like, I had no idea why. I'm like, is it because I'm turning 50? Like, I noticed more puffiness in my midsection. I'm like, why am I so puffy? Like, I never had this puffiness around me before. And it was really hard to do. Before, I would like, okay, maybe I just haven't gone to the bathroom in a couple days, or usually it's not a couple days, but whatever,
Yep. Yep.
you know, like you feel a little constipated or something. But it wasn't, I knew it wasn't that. I'm just like, I can't believe that perimenopause is like hitting me at the age of 50. Like, it was crazy. I noticed some thinning in the hair. Like, there's so many different things that your body just changes. And it was just a couple weeks ago, I went through another whole stage. I didn't get my period. I went through this whole like weird, awkward puffiness again. And now I'm here for the last 2 days and I feel like myself again. I'm like, what? How, how is this
You know
happening?
what's so
But
amazing?
I have to realize yeah, your mindset, right? You have to tell yourself, like, you're okay. It's something your body's going through. And my husband is so supportive of it. He's like, this is something, it's going to change. It's not going to be there forever, So I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I just mean, it's like, hey, you're a nutrition coach, and my goal when we're working with our clients is that they actually learn how to become their own nutrition coaches. And what I love about this process
Mm,
is you start evaluating. We start looking at your spinning plates: nutrition, exercise, water or hydration, sleep, stress, and supplements. And you start analyzing all of those, and you're like, okay, my body's changing right now. What plate do I need to spin a little bit more, or where do I need to make sure that like I'm really honed in on something? And the older we get, first, the more sensitive our blood sugar is. We know that. And second, the cleaner we really have to eat. Our bodies, as we get older, really require as much nourishment as possible. And so, did you do, as you were like analyzing your six plates, is there anything that you did that you kind of tweaked a little bit? Or did you feel like, I know that I'm doing the things I need to be doing and I'm going to be patient?
the one thing I've noticed a lot is that luckily I'm a teacher, because right now I'm able to sleep in later, because I am definitely sleeping a little bit longer than I used to. So I'm like, wow. And that right there, I've read so many things that say like sleep is like one of the first things you should make sure that you do before everything else, because that affects everything else, right? Every
Yep.
plate affects each other.
Yep.
That sleep one, for some reason, I'm reading things lately that talk about how it affects them a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to read the book Next Level. Well, I started a while ago, and
Yep.
I am loving the fact that I'm finding things that I notice, like if I do the Tabata, right? Is that what it is?
I just did
Tabata?
it today, Tabata today,
Yep.
that book.
Yep. Tabata. Yep. If I do the Tabata, I notice that, and we have a bike in the house, so I try, or in the garage in the gym, I try to do that, and I also try to do it on the rebounder. I was trying to like run fast in the rebounder as
Oh,
well.
that's good. Yeah.
And I noticed that that's, yeah, just something different, and I noticed that those things like that, and you don't do it every day, you do it like I do one day that, and I do strength training the next day, whatever. I just try to do different things so that my body reacts in different ways. But I have noticed with that, and also sometimes the castor oil packs that we've read about too with Sarah
Yep.
Ball. She
Yep.
taught me about those. All these little things that you could do every once in a while, like I find that it just helps me feel fitter, slimmer, more like bowel movements are better, like all that
Yes.
stuff. Like you don't realize, I know, talking about bowel movements isn't the greatest thing, but elimination is so important, because when you have that stuff inside of you, that's going to make you feel crappy too. Exactly.
Exactly. So I
So
love that. So even like as your body sends you signals, we don't just ignore it. We actually just take a look at these six spinning plates and decide, what do I need to tweak? So Next Level is a book that we are doing in a book study in our membership group. All of our members have access to just a variety of really amazing things that we do. And book studies are one of them. In fact, we did one on Sleep Smarter, which we learned a ton about sleep. But we also did Next Level, which is about menopause. And I have now put in the Tabata as well. So for those of you that don't know, Tabata or HIIT, something like that, where it's a sprint. And when I say sprint, it could be running, but that's very, very high impact for me. I don't do that. It could be spinning on a bike. It could be like you were talking about on the rebounder, just going really, really, really fast for 20 seconds, stop for 10 seconds, really, really, really fast for 20 seconds, stop for 10. Today, I did a 20-second on, 20-second off. And doing that for about 15 to 20 minutes, just twice a week, has been proven to show massive amounts of improvements for women with menopause when it comes to their strength, but also when it comes to like menopausal symptoms. So that's been a huge game changer for all of us. I mean, I love that you're just tweaking a few things here and there. And so, Stace, when your body got a little puffy and all that, it's like there's this moment where we as women are like, oh my gosh, my body's changing. Like there's something wrong with me. Now I look at my body changing in terms of I really have to work on my mindset being I'm still valuable. I'm still
right.
awesome. My body's changing. What tweaks can I make? But it hits you a little bit, right? Like the vanity piece of it, the ego piece of it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
our value is in what we look like. So tell us a little bit about that when you started feeling that blow, where you went to in terms of your mindset and maybe why.
Yeah, it's really hard. You look at yourself and you're just like, what, like I said, what just happened? I felt like Scary Spice, when she was on what's the show? My husband loves the show. And she was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah.
I'm doing that to myself. America's Got Talent. That's what it is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's what I felt like in the mirror. I just be like, "Oh my God, like what just happened to me, and how can I even like what can I wear to cover myself up? What can I like do? What could and it took me a while, and but you have to just tell yourself it's okay. Love the skin you're in. Like I had to keep reminding myself, like, love the skin you're in. This is me. Yeah, I love me. Like this is you. Your body's going to change. You can try to reverse things. You could do things. There's so many things you can do. Talk to friends, even like just things that are going to help you to get your mind in the place. And like I said, just having my husband, who is just very supportive, to say like, I love you. You're sexy. I love your body. I love this. I love that. Like things like just to make you feel better, because you're just like, you're going to that place, that dark place. And you're like,
Yeah.
I want to come back. I want to come back.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but you just have to keep reminding yourself that it's going to be okay.
Yep.
Things change. It doesn't mean it's forever. There are ways to reverse things. There are things you can do, like you said, eating clean, eating healthy, exercise, trying different things. Sometimes the same thing you're doing all the time needs to be tweaked somehow.
Yep.
Because your body is changing and you can't always do the same thing. Like I'm learning that the strength training that I've always done has to be tweaked as I age.
Yep.
Because your joints are changing, your body's changing, even your estrogen and cortisol levels are changing, and you want to do different things.
Yep.
So I've been trying to lift heavier. I've been trying to, with less reps. I've really been trying to tweak certain things and understand that my body needs to change in other ways so that those other changes I don't like can even back out again.
Exactly. I love that. That is such a great statement. And your body needs to change, and we need to change. Comparison is a thief of all joy. I always say that. It's not just about comparing ourselves to others, but comparing ourselves to our younger self. And I wouldn't want to go back to the mindset and the person I was in my 20s. I've evolved so much, and my body's going to evolve with it. But I want, what's important is that you make the tweaks and the changes, not because you're mad at your body, not because you're all about what I look like on the outside, but those changes, especially weight gain, is a symptom of health and hormones. And if we don't work to, like you said, make the changes or tweak some things, then it's health and hormones that get impacted, which is my driving force. You know, the what I look like on the outside has to be secondary to the real important picture of our health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want to go on any of these drugs. I don't want to, I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to do everything I can, for myself with food, exercise, sleep, supplements, all that other stuff before I will do anything else,
Exactly.
So.
And so, and that's where, we have kids the same age. You have a girl and I have two girls, and we've seen each other's kids grow up, and being a mom of a girl, especially one that's a teenager, is always tricky. We want to help them have this positive self-image, have a good relationship with their body and food. But today, I mean, it's been, issues have been around for decades and decades and decades for women around body image and their value. But today, as we raise these teenage girls, we know with social media and the influence that their peers, the Snapchat, the Insta, the TikTok, all of these things have, is hard to deal with. It's why we're starting our new podcast with Annika Lingdahl, who I'm so excited about. She's 18 years old, and she is hosting, and I'm her co-host, Diet Disruptors Rising Generation. So if you're excited about that, put podcast down. That's going to be releasing soon. And so, Stace, what is the things that you do as a mom who is also an educator, but also a coach, a nutrition coach, and realizes that the power of your words really can impact your daughter? So what are some things that you do in your house to work on positive body image?
I think just being a role model for my daughter every day. Like I'm a kitchen person. I love being in the kitchen, maybe not doing dishes as much, but I love,
that's what the husband's for. Come on.
Right. Yeah. So I love creating. I love cooking. I love, I'm the kind of person who will, take leftovers and create a whole nother meal out of them, like that kind of thing. And I think being a role model in that sense, and her seeing me in the kitchen and making things, during the whole COVID thing, and when she was home, I mean, she would send me pictures. Hey mom, look at what I made today. Pictures of her meal when I was at work. And I'm like, oh, wow. That's great. Like, look at that. That looks awesome.
Yeah.
She really just loves creating. Like last night, she took some rice paper rolls and put like a bunch of vegetables in it and some chickens, some kind of chicken she found in the fridge. And she made these like rice paper rolls with, she's like, it's just like eating a salad basically. I'm like, yeah, but there's some chicken in there, and she made this peanut sauce and put inside. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, she just loves to create things. Like a lot of times she won't even eat some of the things that I have left. I'm like, oh, eat the leftover such and such. She's like, oh, but I really wanted to make this. And I'm like, okay, because she just likes to create like I do. And I'm just so happy that I have gifted her that passion that she can take to college. She can take, on to her the next point of her life. And then the other thing is that she never wanted to work out. When they're younger, you're always like, come on, do a couple this or that with us. Now she is like consistently in that gym. She works out late at night, but hey, as long as she's working out,
and
so
it's also why she's working out, like the why behind it. Cause we got to, especially with teenage girls and the working out thing, it could be because they don't want to get fat. Right. So how do you have the conversations about what the healthy lifestyle is? Like, why do we work out?
Well, she sees it. I mean, like everyone, you've talked about my husband so many times. She sees it through him. He's very physical, very, fit. And I, right along with him have been. So I think and again, being a role model for her to see that both of us work out every day.
Yep.
We do it to keep our bodies strengthened. We do it so we're going rock climbing again tomorrow. Like we do it so we can stay physical and just do things together, and she can't wait to go rock climbing with us again, so because I think it's really cool. When we went rock climbing last time, she couldn't make it up very far, right? And then she saw me get further than her. And she was like, she's very competitive.
50-year-old mom.
I know. She's like, I am not, it was like that point she had reached where he's like, oh, I don't even like this. Why am I here? It's my ball and I'm going home, And then when she saw me get further than her, she's like, okay, I got to do this. So she got up there again and she made it all the way to the top. And now she's so excited to go again tomorrow when we go. Cause it's like, she knows that she is physically fit enough. She's so strong, like her arms and her abs. I'm like, it's like, oh, to be her age again and have like that,
That's
but
strength,
man, I mean, I think it's more her seeing us do it and being role models for her helps her to see that it's important to stay fit. Because look at when my mom and dad could do it 50. And there's a lot of other parents out there that she sees that can't do the things we do, and it's just, I think it's important to her to stay fit because she sees that that's what her lifestyle is. That's what her parents do. So that's what she wants to do.
I think that is exactly it. This is why we tell women all the time, you need to put your own oxygen mask on first. You need to invest in yourself in terms of you doing this, because we know. I was at a parenting workshop when our kids were really, really little. I remember I had just moved to Ohio, I guess, and they were little. And it was when I was told, when the kids are like born to 2, your job as a mom is to keep them safe, right? And then from 2 to 12, you are their teacher. And then from 12 to, I think it was like 16, you are their model, because they don't want to really talk to you. I think it was 15. They don't really want to talk to you. And you and I know that, right? Like they don't want to talk to you, but what you're doing, they're watching. And then from 16 to 21, you are their coach. And then 21 and older, you are their mentor. And you're right at that same cusp, like I am with Ellie, right between that. And they're watching everything we're doing. And as much as parents want their children to be able to have a positive self-image, to not go down that same dieting roller coaster that so many of these women that we work with went on. And when I asked the question, like, what do you say to your daughter to have a positive self-image? What I love about your answer was that it's not about what you say. Now it is, right? Of course, the things we say matter, but what's even more important is what you do. Your identity is around a balanced, healthy person with the right mindsets. If you are not actively living that way to model for your kids, there is no secret that Stacie and I are going to be able to tell you for you to magically be able to ensure that your children live with food freedom and body image that soars. It is going to be you making the stance to take care of you. Because if you don't live the language, you don't walk the talk, then you're never going to have the words or the credibility or the experiences to be able to shift your kids' mindsets and their thinking around this. So the role model, put in the comments, role model, if you're watching us and or listening, and recognize that this is one of the reasons why we need to have this podcast, is because there's too many role models out there showing our kids the wrong things. If you're not doing it in the home, and then we aren't finding things like our new podcast to be able to tap into, the loudest voice wins. And the loudest voice has to be yours.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah, and your daughter's actually even in modeling, which can be a really hard place to be, because you're thinking of your body is your value in that way. And so for you have to even be more intentional around what she's doing and why she's doing it. Cause
and also, I mean, the whole thing about this lifestyle, one of the things I love the most is that you don't change your eating for the rest of your family. Like you eat together. Like that's the whole point, is when you're making these great meals we have in our vault, it's like this is for everybody. It's not like mom's eating this meal that I found this recipe for, and
I'm on a diet.
Right. It's not that at all. It's that we're all like, look at these amazing meals and let's cook this together. Or I can't wait. I love when my daughter's like, that was really good, mom. It's like that. I love that. And I get that often because there are good things. Like there's such good things to be able to cook, and we all eat it together. That's
Oh
one of
my
my
gosh.
favorite things about this program is that
Yeah.
we,
It's
think
funny.
about when we lived in Singapore and
I made pasta and meat sauce last night, and
yeah,
Grace was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!" And there was a time, I don't know, a few years ago, because I make banza chickpea pasta now instead of regular gluten pasta, and they used to tell me that they could taste the difference. They have no idea, no idea. Grace sucked hers all up, and she was like, "That was amazing." No complaints. It was so
that's
good.
right. That's right.
And so actually, Coach Stacie is also part of our recipe team. We have a lot of our coaches that work on a recipe team. So she works on that to make sure that our recipes that come out every single month are amazing. We only open our recipe vault once or twice a year, depending on how busy we are to the public. All of our members always get the recipe vault. But if you are not a member and you want to be on the wait list for the recipe vault, go to disruptivenutrition.com/recipes, and you can get on the wait list, and we can throw in a few. I think we have a few recipes for you to be able to have when you do that. So, Stace, what's your favorite recipe? What's your family's favorite recipe from the vault?
Oh my God. I was in charge of putting together that Mongolian beef one, and I just love that one.
I was gonna say Mongolian beef for me, if you ask me. We had that Mongolian beef recipe the first time. My husband Peter was like, I swear we would have spent $25 or $30 each on this at a restaurant, and it would have been as good as this. And it was completely PFC balanced. It's clean, and it's just the yummiest thing ever. Actually, you're making me feel like that's what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. I don't have all my meals planned, but tonight I was not on it, so that might be what we do. Well, Stacie, I'm so glad we got a chance to connect and talk. And I think for everybody that, if you live that healthy lifestyle, but you're like, something is off, I'm just like, I need more answers. We keep thinking healthy is enough. Our blood sugar can be all over the place by eating, even when we're eating healthy. It's part of the puzzle, but it isn't the whole thing. And Stacie learned it, and now she's obsessed with teaching others. And I'm so glad that you are. Thank you for being here, my friend.
You know what, too, being part of this whole thing, just having support from other women sometimes is all you need. Like, even if you feel like you're eating healthy, having people to talk to about things when you do go through these changes, like I said, it really helps because you realize that you're not alone. Because that's one thing right there that a lot of women think, like, why is it me? But you're not alone. Everyone goes through these changes at different parts of their life too. And to have people to talk to with support is just, amazing.
And that's why, whether people are in our free group, Diet Disruptor Squad, or if they're one of our members, our members are lifetime members. Like, we want everyone there for a lifetime, because, you could be joining us in your 30s and think, I'm good, I learned I need PFC, all this stuff, but life will show up. And you're going to need your squad, your people there to support you.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
The membership group is where you and I live more often than necessarily the free group. But once you become 50, like you, I'm almost there. But Stacie recently turned 50. And once, we're there and things change, you're going to want your people that know the lifestyle. So I love that. So remember to make the changes because you love yourself. This is one of the last hats in our shop for this. So we are doing a 50% off right now off the entire store, because we're moving offices and we don't want to take it with us. And we're in the process of designing all new swag. So nothing is going to be repeated. So if you like something, go get it now. You can go to our website, which is disruptivenutrition.com/shop. And use the code MOVING50 for 50% off all the apparel, but it is only until the 20th of July. So we gotta get on that soon.
Get on it.
Miss out. And then once they're gone, and we're never making them again. So I don't know. I love all the things in our shop, and they're just good reminders. People stop me all the time, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, I love you too." And then I had one person say to me, "Do you love Maine?"
I love everybody.
I love me, because Maine, it was me. But yeah, so we want to love ourselves. We want to do what's right for our bodies because we love our bodies. We love ourselves, not because we hate ourselves. Wherever you are in your journey, there is a place for you at Disruptive Nutrition. Stacie, thank you for being here. I love you, girl.
Love you too. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.